Yeah, we gotta. Yeah, I mean, like entertainment is a fucking. It feels like the Wild West as far as what this is, or entertainment and shit. But everything else feels like the Wild West too. Getting toilet paper, driving it,
Yeah.
feels like and it
Streets.
feels like it's gonna break weirder too. So it's like, yeah, the more we do this, it
You,
probably,
I look at these pictures of all these empty shelves, and I tell you, having all these bullets makes me feel very comfortable.
yeah,
That's a
no
true
shit.
thing. That's a true fucking statement. I like it.
Yeah,
I don't even mind.
I feel like that antique gun that's missing the middle piece is not as good of a bluff as it was a week ago. I felt like some tough talk and waving that gun around. Maybe I'll have it in a bag, or wear a members only jacket and keep it in the pocket. We just don't want to spread.
I got there. I left early because I was worried people were going to start shotgunning each other just to push the envelope. And I wouldn't want to get too drunk and do that.
Well,
Wanted to be safe.
did you see him boot scooting the envelope there in Nashville?
Yeah.
A whole crowded, yeah.
A guy turned around and coughed right on me in Safeway on my way to the funhouse yesterday.
Oh, wow.
I stopped to get ice, and
That's assault with that's attempted murder.
I guess he thought. I guess he thought that there was nobody behind him because he just like turned around to just cough, so he didn't cough on the lady in front of him and coughed right. And I must have looked pissed off at him because he looked real scared.
Yeah.
You mean your eyes must have been open?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you moved quietly. You probably didn't know you'd snuck up behind him
Yeah.
like that.
Couldn't hear my big fat heavy breathing.
Well, there's got to be people out there who like don't even know what's going on. They're just
Yeah,
like
there are.
I stopped watching the news a long time ago.
I'm one of them.
Yeah, I mean but I mean you're forced to it once a week when we do the podcast that you have to at least hear us talk about things in the news.
And
Yeah.
I monitor Twitter as my social interaction
Yeah.
throughout the week, so I do know a few things.
Well, it's
You
like
know,
every place you go, you sit anywhere, you hear people talking about it. It's like the only subject it's finally got everybody involved, We're all on the same fucking subject for the moment.
But it's like when Doug used to make the joke that like Bingo doesn't know who Joe Pesci is. It's like there are some people that like are so out of the loop, let's say, that they might not even know. They'll keep coughing out because they've checked out a long time ago.
You know who it's not a national emergency for is kids, little ones that aren't involved in hobbies. I see them running around laughing, playing and shit. And
Living
and
life to the fullest.
at some point they're not going to listen to their parent. They're going to infect grandpa, and they're going to say, "You better be careful around grandpa. If he gets sick and dies, you're going to feel horrible." And then grandpa's going to get sick and die, and they're going to have to deal with it.
And you may be taking this a little more seriously than everybody else. Hence the bubble you've apparently built.
Oh, he cheated it in the corner there. I thought he actually completely encircled the balcony.
Yeah, believe me, that was the first draft. It's a little windy out here. Yeah.
Yeah,
I know
you got it.
At some point, like, people are holding back, like they're not really like fucking snapping, crying, and you do something like that, you hang plastic, and then you sit down and it looks pretty cool and everything, and then the wind starts kicking it in your fucking face and knocking your shit over.
Making a crinkle sound.
I finally got a good cry in anyway.
Andy, do you know if anybody in your area that you live in has this supposed pandemic?
COVID-19, Chad.
They're not
COVID-19. There
no,
it is.
but it's Seattle's got it bad. Portland's got it, and it seems like it's here, but I don't know.
Well,
it's like
I was just wondering because, like, for us, like, the closest one, the closest one to us is Maricopa County in Arizona, and that's like far, far away. So it's it's funny to see the shelves here clear off like in big cities. It's like, we don't live in a big fucking city. We live in a little tiny place. And now the old people can't get their fucking toilet paper. And I can't get isopropyl alcohol to clean my pipes, you motherfuckers.
No, I know, yeah. It's just joke.
It's affected. It's finally got down to a level where it affects me.
Yeah, that's where I almost started crying is I had a little bit of rubbing alcohol I keep in a cup just for my pipes, and it spilled with the plastic whipped into it and knocked over my shit. And like, now I'm fucked. Now I'm going to get, clean pipes was the only advantage I had with the coronavirus. And not my lungs. I'm talking about these fucking things. I keep these clean.
Well, people on Twitter keep suggesting that I use brake cleaner to clear my pipe, but to me,
good idea.
Sounds like a good idea.
That sounds a lot like eating bats probably did. I don't know. That sounds like the start of something bad.
What's the worst that could happen? So, Shaylee, you say there has to be somebody out there who doesn't know what's going on. There is. And that person has a face, and that person's face belongs to Lynn Shawcroft. She texted us on Friday night and texted Carrie Mitchell and I, and she's like, so what are you guys doing? And we're like, well, we're just gonna, ride it out. She's like, what? Ride what out? Like, what's going on? You guys headed up to the store? But I'm like, no. Are you aware? And she had no idea. And then I tweeted on Friday. I tweeted this on Friday or Saturday. This is all my fault. I found a genie in a lamp on the beach and wished to finally draw as well as Rogan. Sorry.
That's pretty good.
And her response was, what does this mean? Lynn is happily, blissfully unaware that the zombie apocalypse is happening.
Oh, that's great.
So, but that's how she goes through the rest of her life. So,
yeah, there's no change. Well, I've got a plan that looks like Tracy and I were pretty sure, about 80% sure, we're going to be down to LA by the next time, by the projected Comedy Store show that got canceled.
I'll meet you at the edge of town and try to get you in.
but what I thought was, because dumb people are everywhere, they've started to buy up all these supplies and everything to where you can't even, like, regular people would just one roll of toilet paper, none.
No, it's fine.
I figure we'll just hit the podunk towns that still have a Dollar General, but they're miles from everywhere else, and those people they're like full of shock rock.
No.
They might not. Yeah, maybe, because there's dumb people everywhere. I mean,
when I first saw on Twitter that the people were posting the toilet paper thing, and I was laughing at it, I had to go to town with Jenny one day. We were at Fry's, and I was standing in the customer service line, and I looked over, and there was a lot of people in there, but I don't go to the store a lot, so maybe there's always a lot of people in there. But I did notice that there was a full end roll cap of toilet paper on sale, and I was like, oh, good. The madness is not in my small fucking town.
On sale. That is a businessman who is completely oblivious to
they're fired.
Luckily, the people were completely oblivious as well, because nobody was buying any of it. And then now, I haven't been there, but apparently it's all gone. Everything's cleared out.
Yeah, if only you'd have done a little market research, like get the idea from China or whatever. It's like, get all the toilet paper in town and then open
exists.
Andy's toilet paper emporium.
I read an article about that guy. Eric's right.
Yeah, it exists. There's like I'd have to look it up, find his name. But he's they're calling him the Martin Shkreli of the coronavirus.
Hand sanitizer.
Yeah, he bought it all when this all broke in China, and he's got like a fucking warehouse full of it.
17,000.
Yeah. but now he doesn't know what to do with it because he can't sell it and get it to enough people to make his money back. He didn't think it through, but
I love it. It's like one of the things he said was, I thought maybe I just turned a corner here and was finally going to be able to provide for my family. It's like, by ripping off every other family, $70 a bottle for hand sanitizer.
Yeah.
Fuck.
And the great part is this is day 4. day 4, man. I looked around at people's faces in the stores, and it was like, oh man, they're just fucking barely holding on to his politeness. You can see the mask
Wait.
is starting to slip. Oh, no, you go ahead. You go ahead. It's like last week that bitch was complaining her daughter's name was spelled wrong at Starbucks on the cup. Like now it's like, no.
Andy, can I just say you're not on day 4 of isolation if you're going to the stores.
Yeah,
You
well,
haven't started yet. You're still stocking up.
Oh, no. Let's see. I haven't had any close contact with anybody for 2 days, but I've been in stores. I just don't. I've always been a dick. It's like when somebody at the grocery store asks how your day's going, or you getting everything done, or that kind of shit. I usually just stare until they shut the fuck up, and then I put my card in there, and then I go about my business. So, being kind of a aloof asshole is I don't have to make as many adjustments as everybody else.
Yeah, that's your brand.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, I'm putting up the plastic to show isolation.
The store is one of the things they recommend you don't do. That's my point.
Oh, like when I went to, I had to go to Costco. Well, my wife's, she's here now. That's fucking horrible. That like churches.
The plastic didn't keep her out.
More. We know why you have to leave now. She's there. I got you.
I'm considering building an isolation tube out here on the deck, but now my house has become the kingdom. Now they just declared everybody has their own church and shit, and I'm like, oh fuck, man, so now I'm stuck here with that. So I'm gonna probably be tempted to jump in. It's like it makes a lot of sense. It's like here we are with the plague, and
we come back to our next podcast in a couple of days, and you're like, you've got the Bible in your hand, and you're like, guys, I really do want to talk to you. About the good word of our Lord.
I would
Savior,
need
Jesus
if I
Christ.
had a Bible. If I had a Bible in my hand, I would hope that I have a blackout, like a government document, so most of it's redacted.
Redacted?
Yeah, this is redacted.
Harmful
Get rid of that.
Get it out of here.
Zebediah, that whole chapter is false. False religion. Yeah. Well, she took a little pride in getting the announcement from the kingdom that they were canceling church 2 weeks in front of the Episcopalians.
Yeah.
So,
well,
but it's like they're a death cult. Shouldn't they have gotten the notice like 2 years ago?
Are they celebrating?
Yeah.
It's gotten me excited that the stuff's clearing off the shelves because it's. I would imagine it'll evolve to food and things that really matter, besides toilet paper. And then it's going to get crazy, and then maybe it'll become who's the king of the street, and you just take over your street.
Yeah.
Go and take all. This is where hoarding ammo for all of these years seemed weird to everybody, but now it seems. And then once you're king of your street, then you take on the next street, and pretty soon you move to a better home.
Oh my God, I see
like
it.
Warriors, right?
I see it. I see it perfect. I got to get to Bisbee because. It's made me think of The Wire and Chad Shank being Omar and him he's already established he's the butcher of Bald Knob, so all he's gonna have to do is put a little blood on his face and show up and ask for snacks, and they'll just put a box of stuff out there and we can round it up. Yeah.
Everyone whispering to each other, Chad coming, y'all, Chad coming. And everybody hides, all the shutters close.
Yeah, the boys in the bubble.
It's Arizona, motherfucker. I got weapons just over my shoulders.
Shit. Yeah. Holy cow. Yeah, no, I thought about if the herd starts thinning at a rate, it's like, okay, I'm definitely road tripping, heading down that way. You guys might not be so happy to see me at the compound, but I know the back entrance, motherfuckers. I'll pole vault in and we'll all be already contaminated.
Yeah, at least, hey, Andy, you've got higher ground though because you're up above. You're on the second floor, right?
Yeah. Well, that's If it turns,
they'll burn you out, but they won't. Yeah. They won't be able to get in.
Oh yeah. Yeah. But we have moderate snacks here. We're set up for Airbnb, not apocalypse. Hey, who wants muffins? Hey, we just had to bury our whole fucking family. We don't need muffins. Fresh banana slices? Anyone? I got this at the store. Everything was picked through, but I found a solid chocolate squirrel, and I'm holding on
Oh
to it.
man.
I'm holding on to that until the bitter fucking end. And I'm gonna. I got that hit and a half of acid.
Uh-huh.
Carve out the squirrel's head.
Everybody's got to have a plan, man.
Yeah.
Oh, man,
It
yeah.
is interesting because all the food, like here in West Hollywood, with all the idiots and a city full of people, so like all the food is gone at the grocery stores right now. So that means all of the shit, like the shit you would never eat, like
Pumpkin, canned pumpkin.
Yeah, yes, yeah. It's like when are you gonna eat? You have to eat. You should have to eat that now.
Dog food.
Everyone should have to eat the food they fucking ran out and grabbed.
The one thing I've always wondered who would eat it, and it's the tall can of grapefruit juice, like a tall can. They have a chicken in one of those cans. And they're always there because it lasts forever. It's probably from the Civil War. It's gonna last forever. But
Which one?
Once that's gone, then we're in the shit. Once that's gone.
Yeah. This brings out the worst in society. I know in the local Facebook group that sells stuff here, somebody's tried to sell toilet paper for $10 a roll, which was really douchey. But then it got even douchier than that because all the social justice warriors responded and they're like, let's rally together and donate our toilet paper to the elderly. And we're like, would you just stay the fuck home? Nobody wants your toilet paper, motherfucker.
No, nobody wipes the elderly.
Yeah.
That's a waste of paper.
Yeah, basically, I took care of my dad, and a trip to the bathroom meant a trip to the shower right after.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're both getting in there because it's all over me too. So you first.
We're not gonna start wiping now, old man.
Yeah. Elderly people are the most fucked, followed by homeless, and then the rest of us. But
although maybe the homeless will do fine based on the fact that there are going to be a lot of people throwing food away in a week and a half. The dumpsters are going to be filled with a fucking feast. Chickens and cans.
Well, and arguably, homeless people generally have a stronger immunity, they don't catch the usual. There. Yeah, they're out in the shit, so they'll hopefully, for them.
I'll tell you what. Last week when we were in Seattle, we were in the back alley before the show, the Neptune Theater, so it's right in the University District. And there was a gent during the day I saw that he was on the street at the corner of the alley, right where it hits the sidewalk, on a twin mattress, like chilling with his sign on a mattress in Seattle. Okay. Later on that night during the show, I recognized the same guy. He doesn't need toilet paper. He just pulled his pants down, leaned his ass up against the chain link fence, and did one of these like this thing, or like you try and get the balance, but then he still had the fence to kind of hold him. Yeah. And the three of us are sitting there going, what's he? And it's like you realize, he is absolutely taking a shit.
Wow.
Right there. And guess what? No $10 toilet paper was near him.
Pull him up and go.
There's not going to be a need for toilet paper.
Yeah.
Well,
you never see it on The Walking Dead. Right?
Yeah.
On the extreme side, the worst case scenario for us is we take a lot more showers.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
It's right next to it.
Yeah. Well, guess I'll take a shower again.
Week 1, water runs out. Whoops.
Yeah.
The Sam Tripoli side of the brain or whatever, or it's not even that big of a leap to go. Maybe Putin, talked to the Chinese and they were like, "What do we want to try this shit?" And they're like, "Well, let's test it on our people first." And the Chinese don't care about their fucking people, So they're like, "Yeah, we'll give it a go." And then, and now it's spreading, and Putin's waiting to fucking drop the hammer on step 3 of his plan. That's the paranoid side of it. You know, that I get a little paranoid when a Russian fucking leader has the ear of the president who acts as his fucking repeats what the other guy. It is a good time to be fucking paranoid and questioning everything because it could be.
It's funny. Inman always wants to be on this podcast, and you're turning into Inman on this podcast. I'm watching it happen.
You know how competitive Trump's competitive, and he wants to kill more people than Hitler. Okay. Yeah.
And this is there in his plastic bubble. It's not a leap for me to believe that this is all Putin talking to China.
Yeah.
Jesus, Inman.
I mean, yeah, man. Well, I hope I'm, it is paranoid, but it's like logical, right? Shit.
How many things are logical?
I missed part of what you said about China, Andy, because I was losing the feed for a second. Did you say that China started this virus in order to squash the protests on the streets in Hong Kong? And because that is out there, and it did. The timeline works. Those protests. Did motive.
Wait a minute. That's not what he said at all. He's just agreeing with you now. What he said was that Putin.
Ask him again. He'll tell you exactly what you said.
The fuck?
I'm just saying. Why wouldn't he? The axis of it's a new axis of evil. I'm not. I'm not trying to I'm not trying to be a bummer.
That's funny.
It's a sad irony for Inman that his time to shine, when this beautiful worldwide
I know
conspiracy is in a full-blown effect, and he's been distracted by the fact that his comedy show he wasn't going to get paid for in the upstairs third stage of a comedy club got canceled. And that's all he can focus on. He's
totally the boy that cried wolf. Now he's fucking making logical sense. I read one of his Facebook posts, and usually I can shit on it after the first paragraph, but it's like I read it all the way through, and it was like, he's making some really solid points today.
That says
Too
a
bad
lot more
nobody
about you than it does Inman.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Says I need to block something. So it's fucking but here's the thing though, and it's not, I mean, here's what's where's people are all fucked, everybody's off work, the fucking everything's canceled, and it's like we can't all, hey, look at this. I'm not sure I like the color. Does she have a little fever?
She's a healthy carrier.
Yeah. That's what I think we all are. That's what this podcast is about. We're healthy carriers.
Yeah. Well, drastic times call for drastic measures. So Carrie Mitchell has turned our couch into a bed by putting our air mattress on top of the couch and the coffee table. It's been quite the here. I'll try to. Oh no, I'm turning into Andy.
Podcast is over.
Is that so it's easier to hunker in place so you don't have to walk to the bedroom?
Yeah. Well, whether you have a 1-bedroom or a 2-bedroom apartment in West Hollywood is all just a matter of commitment.
It's because someone has to guard that front room, Chad.
Yeah.
So they're and the person in the back sleeps.
I got you.
If we could somehow get a mattress that would fit in between the mattress in the bedroom and the mattress in the living room, I would put that mattress in there.
Hot lava. You don't touch anything but mattresses all the way.
Yeah. So, and we're painting the bathroom too.
So, yeah. Well, how are we feeling about our ability to stave off a flu? That's a bigger question. I planted flower seeds, and I did a bunch of because I can go to where I used to have I paid for a garden spot, and they dump all the dirt and all the stuff for all the people who buy those garden spots. But I felt like they got a little too pricey. But I still like free dirt and everything, so I go in the morning and get the shit, because it's like, fuck it, it's every man for himself at this point, and I want
4 days in, every man for himself. Gotta give me that dirt. Where's my dirt?
I'm looting sawdust chips and dirt under the cover of darkness, right under their nose. And I know the Chinese lady would be pissed if she saw me doing that, and she'd get real close to my space if she saw me stealing that dirt, not stealing it, moving it over here.
That's true. How do you steal dirt? You really just
Who really owns dirt?
Yeah.
Yeah, they just shuffling it over there, shuffling over here.
And there's not any cameras watching these dirt piles.
Oh no! I climb over the fence when the flowers. I like a nice bouquet, and I thin as I go. I don't take too many from anyone.
You're talking flowers. You're picking people's.
I haven't climbed over the fence since I jammed up my back. But
so Andy, hold on a second. You're telling me that you're going into a community garden and strolling through and picking off flowers as if you're at the fucking the flower mart down in Los
Angeles? Dirt.
I'm saying it's happened.
Oh, Andy's such a bad name.
Yeah, what's happened and what you can prove are two different things, my friend.
Man.
Yeah. Again, there's no cameras there, and I'd be real reluctant to admit into it, but late in the season, a lot of people bail on their garden, and if I climb over there in the late fall and get like a couple of hundred tomatoes that are going to be rotten in 2 days. I've done that. I've done it and taken them to the homeless kitchen. I've fed the homeless with tomatoes I stole from the community garden that were going to rot. Good. Yeah.
So my question for you,
like the Robin Hood of vegetables.
Yeah.
Well, and then I take some flowers for myself while I'm there.
You have confidence in 2020 when anybody can go on Amazon.com and get a really nice hidden surveillance device for like under $60. Because I've thought about that before too. Because I used to be a person that did, I would commit crimes of opportunity, and then stop doing that at some point because I'm like, this is the county had a bunch of dirt piled up in the for projects, and it was these huge piles of dirt on the side of the road, and I was like, I'm gonna go to jail.
Yeah,
there's cameras.
Yeah.
Of course there is.
Yeah, but then they got to go over the footage, or there's got to be like, man,
wait a minute. Well, don't put up a camera because the area of someone stealing dirt, but then you don't think they're gonna go, yeah, but someone will have to look through it.
Well, it depends. Hey, man, it's like when somebody has a pile of Coke, are they going to notice if you take the whole pile? Yeah. You cut a little bit and lean it over that way and then bash that down, they might not notice. So, you don't take a fucking front loader and take all the dirt.
Andy replaced all the dirt he took with rocks. So the weight and the size of the piles never changed. See, nobody noticed.
Since we're using metaphors here, on your way to take a little bit of the pile of cocaine, remember you stole everybody's weed on the way in. So you made a lot of enemies, is my point.
Where?
Did I? Flowers, man.
Oh, those flowers. Yeah, but not that kind of community garden. These are bouquets.
Are you
in a cemetery?
I take look, man. If I sense you are not gonna visually enjoy your flowers and they're just gonna bloom out in the garden, then motherfuck it, man. I'll climb that fence, clip them, and take them to a dying old hag.
So you're deciding in advance, like Minority Report, whether or not somebody is going to enjoy their flowers.
Flower god. It's the flower god.
If you read the Farmer's Almanac Bible, you will know, like there's a frost coming tomorrow and then there's nobody at the garden and it's 10 o'clock at night or whatever. And you're up because, you did too many of them diet pills and, it's just
hypothetically speaking.
Yeah. I do most of it for myself, but I do help others. I like a nice spaghetti sauce, and it's like, oh, What better way to get spaghetti sauce? It's not processed at all. You go into the community garden when nobody's fucking giving a fuck, and you take a sampling of everybody's stuff.
Ooh.
And then you come back and you make yourself one hell, and then you give it to other people. Like, hey, I made this. I won't. I mean, I bring it in, and then it gets processed. I kill the deer. I mean, steal the tomatoes. I mean, I don't
make the sauce.
Yeah, I'm like the Joe Rogan of vegetables. I don't go stalk a deer and kill it. I go climb a fence and take it, and people would be mad if they saw it.
So you're hunting tomatoes, basically?
Yeah.
Tomato hunter.
Let's just say I've got a couple of days up on you guys going into week 1 or 2.
I don't believe that's true. I think Chad's probably ahead of us all.
Well, he's got to wait for week 3 before he can start killing things.
I don't know how jealous I'd be if I saw Andy come on the screen next week and like take a bite out of a tomato and go, "See, guys, you got to plan ahead."
No, I wouldn't take it. I don't.
Andy said he quit the community garden because he thought it got too expensive, which means people are investing money into this.
Yes,
so not only that,
if I looked at my flowers or I ate my tomatoes, I would love to shoot whoever was fucking stealing my tomatoes and flowers. And
here's a tip for the community garden. For 2 to 3 years, they had the same code on the thing. After I got when I couldn't cut it anymore, when it was too much effort to go there and all that shit, and then I stopped going there. Hey man, where's your cameras? Everybody's paying $150 for the fucking privilege of putting dirt down. Where's your cameras and where's all that other shit, And they didn't even change the code. It was my birth year, 1965. So it's pretty easy to remember. And it was like so I got into the habit of just going out there. Still is, it's like when you get kicked out of the health club and you still want to work out,
They're used to your face at the front desk, so they keep letting you go in.
Yeah, but that one little Chinese lady, she would come right over and go, "Where are you taking this dirt?" Was
that a Chinese lady?
No, that was a specific Chinese lady. That's actually a damn good impression of Mary.
Very good.
Yeah, rubber boots. She pops out of the fog. You wouldn't think she was there. You think you're alone in the community garden taking a leak or spraying Roundup.
You're peeing in the community garden? That's worse than stealing dirt.
I used to have my own property with land. I still want to be on Oakway Road, but there's houses that look onto that property, and I had to adjust. But yeah, you think you're alone, and then all of a sudden, oh, I like what you've done to the garden spot, or hi Mary, and what I liked about my backyard is I could take my pants off and just walk around and piss, maybe jerk it a couple times or whatever. But man, you think the community garden would have, it's totally different. It's
public property.
It's like the YMCA bathtub as opposed
to I can't
to,
even jerk off at the community garden. I thought this was America. Yeah, this was America.
Why did I even plant these roses?
Yeah, I'm standing on my dirt. This is my dirt.
Now we know what it means when Andy says, when I sense somebody isn't going to enjoy their roses, now we know what he means.
When I lived on Oakway Road, I never once
nobody's going to do that but you.
When I lived on Oakway Road, I never once put on pants to pick green beans, Like, fuck that. And now, so now I don't garden, but I still enjoy fresh produce. and I'm still able, but I don't, I don't want to, climb the fence anymore. I want to be better than the herd, but I'll be climbing it in a week out of desperation. We're out of toilet paper and tomatoes. Where am I going to go?
Hey, Andy, I got a question.
Yeah.
How come you're hopping the fence if you got the code?
Well, that's when I stopped when I mean, 'cause I had like my mother-in-law was dying, and I was like, I'm gonna go get her flowers, and then that's when I discovered the code had changed.
Okay.
But I still had a code. 'Cause I told
The code of the streets.
I told my mother-in-law she was she never really liked me that much until she started getting feeble in the head, and then she started appreciating my skill set. I'd bring her coffee, and they told her she couldn't have dairy, and I'd still bring her coffee. I didn't care. She wanted the coffees, and then I told her I'll give you fresh flowers as long as they're still in season and you're in season. And so she was dying.
You're in
and
season.
I know. I said that, and I heard it, but I just felt like moving on. Yeah.
How much longer was she in season?
Well, after I peed on her, she got pretty sick. It wasn't so much the urine; it was the cut off breathing that got her. Like I said, she never really liked me, and I told her I'd bring her fresh flowers.
Fresh flower.
Was that Mary who said that? Fresh flowers.
No, but Mary caught me cutting flowers. Anyway, I cut flowers, and because the code would change, I climbed the fence and I brought her flowers, and then she died that day with flowers. And I heard as I was charging up some shoes at the Nike store from her credit card that that she was dead. It was like, oh wow. Because I wanted up-to-date information.
You heard about your mother-in-law's death from your shoe salesman?
No. Well, I heard I was well. I mean, it was really getting close to my birthday, and I had her. I wouldn't say power of attorney, but I was close. I was living with the power of attorney.
That is totally not anywhere near power of attorney. I love that. That's a good term.
You make decisions.
He had access to her credit card is all it means.
Yeah, you make decisions on somebody who's dying, and her decision was I needed my birthday present no matter what. No matter what.
She was a good woman in that way.
Well, she never liked me, as I've stated. But and I'd like to think that it was, makeup ball or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think she was spot on.
Yeah.
She probably figured you were going to do exactly what you did from the get-go.
Well, that's where dementia starts, chipping away, and then you get to be friends again.
Water under the bridge.
There's a certain something, people say, oh, they had a clear mind right to the end. Oh, man, that's a bummer.
Right.
It means they went out with all their grudges intact. Somebody starts fading away. It's like, we made peace. I stole a lot of money from him, and he was bitterly pissed, but we made peace at the end because he called me Phil. We got over it. We hugged it out. It's over. Wiping the slate clean.
That's why you put him in the shower, so you don't have to do that.
Yeah. Gallows humor. I know, I'm good at that. My dad was good at that when he was getting wheeled down the hall and they were going to remove his second leg. Diabetes, and he was paralyzed, and they were going to take his second leg off. And I got there right as they were wheeling him into the hospital. And my dad's all eyes rolling back and his head's all bloated and stuff. And he looks at me and he goes, I love you. And I thought he was pranking me. I was like, hey, man, bullshit or whatever. I think I said bullshit. Like, I didn't mean it negatively. Like, he didn't mean it like I love you. And, it was just like, it caught me off guard because he'd never really said that. And in fact, I'd seen my mom try to force him to say he loved one of his kids individually, and it was like trying to get Fonzie to say he was sorry or whatever.
No, I was wrong.
Yeah. My dad could not say I love you to one of his specific kids, but when he was rolling into ER, getting ready to have his second leg, and he thought he was dying. Of course, we all did. And I was in. I go, Dad, and he goes, I love you. And I was like, bullshit. And that was like that. And then and he pulled through. And then I was following up the hall, and he goes, get me the Grim Reaper. He said to the. So you got to have a sense of humor in these times, you know. Right now, we're all getting ready to get wheeled down the hall to get our second leg removed.
Yeah. But have you considered that your dad, when he said "I love you," was?
Is it closing time?
Oh, shit. Never mind.
No, go ahead. No. When he said he loved me.
I don't think it's funny now.
Well, he said he was.
Have you considered that when he said "I love you," he was talking to the leg?
He had a good
one last goodbye, and you were just like you sat down on his thigh while he was addressing the leg, and you like moved into the shot.
I don't know how much time my dad had, but he had a pretty good solid. You know, he had some good fucking punchlines anyway.
He could open on a triple.
Yeah, like when they took one of his feet away. He said, I got to find somebody who's missing a right foot that's the same size, and then we can split shoes, which I thought was pretty funny as a kid. It was like, huh? And then when he lost the other foot, he was like, I guess I can just wear cutoffs now. It's pretty fucking funny. And then they took one of his legs, and then we just cut half of his sweatpants legs off, and did
he say, "Well, I'm losing weight"?
No, he didn't really have a joke there.
I thought he had one for each time.
No, he kind of, but then when they went to take that leg off, he's like, he rebounded with get called the Grim Reaper right after he said he loved me to my face, right in my fucking face.
If it makes you feel any more awkward. If it makes you feel any more comfortable at this late stage, I'm sure he did not love you. It was probably just the drugs they had already given him before they were wheeling him in there.
Yeah. Don't get upset, Andy.
Yeah,
don't get upset.
I didn't love you.
No, I didn't take it personal.
None of the other men who told Andy they loved him ever meant it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wondered about that. Yeah.
Or did they?
Hey, no,
maybe they did.
No.
You don't know.
Pedophiles are like dudes in relationships. Regular dudes in relationship. They really don't want to say "I love you" unless they have to. That's the last case scenario or whatever. But they like to say they're proud of you. Or they just flatter you a lot. At least that was my experience. Maybe I was just ahead of other kids. Maybe I was just a little sweeter than most of the boys, but I got a lot of compliments on myself. Whereas he never really ever, he wouldn't have said that. And if he would have said "I love you," I would have said the same thing to my dad. Bullshit, man. Prove it, Prove it. Finish the blowjob, for fuck's sakes. Come on, man. Come on. I'm a 6th grader, and you get my dick hard, and then you just fucking giggle and go to the bathroom. Come on. When you're getting groomed, it's like grooming. It's like if you're getting a haircut, they don't stop before they finish clipping your bangs. Hey, wait, you still didn't, and then they're vacuuming up and giggling. Come on, finish the haircut, bitch.
And you're wearing a cape for some reason.
That'd be a good title for your documentary, Andy. Nobody talks about the blue balls.
Yeah, I know. A lot of kids know what I'm talking about. It's like you didn't ask to be aroused, and it hurts when it doesn't get finished, no matter who caused it. Whether it was watching Love Boat or getting rubbed. It's the same sensation, I got oversexed in California, and then I'd come home. We had 3 channels, and I would come home oversexed. I didn't, didn't have it like I'd watch porno and get rub downs and shit, and then I'd come home, and then I didn't know how to jerk off, and then I would watch Love Boat, and then that would have sexual situations, and I would get aroused, but I didn't know what to do till I went to grandma's, and I stayed at grandma's, and she was shithouse drunk, so I had to watch her and shitting herself. It was real. I thought, man,
that'll pull you out of it.
Yeah, when I saw that as a kid, I was like, man, this sucks. And then as an adult, I think that's wow. She did that, and she wasn't in Vegas. What the fuck, Grandma? I would have told her, Grandma, you're treating your trailer like it's fucking the plaza. Come on, lady, get it together.
You're going off Fremont Street on me.
Yeah, you're going Fremont, lady, and she'd shat herself, and then while she was asleep in the chair, I was watching the Showtime and the Lady Chatterleys or HBO. Yeah. And then my dick got hard, and then I just started tugging away at it. And then when it coughed the syrup up, of course, I was concerned, and I couldn't wake Grandma for advice, and she was fucking, She was an old showgirl, so she probably would have had a lot of advice. Oh no! Terrible.
Yeah.
So that's how I knew.
So you both needed cleaned up at that point.
Well, yeah, I didn't clean. Neither of us got that. So I'm just saying, maybe we don't need to wash our hands.
Maybe it's too late.
Yeah, it's probably too late. I survived with would come and Grandma's feces on me. Jesus Christ. I mean, I made an effort to clean. I just, it's like you want to help, and then you see how serious the problem is.
That moment you realize, oh my God, this is way worse than I thought.
That was my first real brush with alcoholism.
Wait, was that drinking or having to clean up after someone drinking?
I stopped pouring. I at that point I was pouring outer booze, but after that night, I was a bit of a drunk myself after coming back from California. So when I would get on grandma duty, I would hang on to the wine and get rid of. I was like I shouldn't have gotten rid of all the cough syrup, but there was something to that. She would hang on to the cough syrup and yeah, she made my grandma mixed not Mad Dog. It was the Night Train.
Night Train, yeah.
Night Train with cough syrup, because she wasn't she stopped being an alcoholic. At some point she quit drinking and she was no longer an alcoholic, but that she would get the bottle still for cooking. And she would drink it out of her cough syrup bottles, but I think she was kind of on the crunk, right? Is that like
early on?
So so I shouldn't have been so judgmental of Grandma. I think I kind of got ear beaten by my parents that what she was doing was wrong, and I should have listened to Grandma's side of things, a little bit. Just shitting herself in her own space, Hey, Grandma, if you ever get nauseous and you're at the plaza doing shots and there's an empty cup around, she was that kind of girl, she would have done that. I bet my grandma would have been a pretty good fuck back in the day. My grandpa, you could tell my grandpa had some problems and he liked to have a good time. And grandma was that good time, when I got to her, she was a loud fucking cunt.
Hold on.
Don't say it like that, man.
When I met her.
Thank you.
And she'd screwed up my dad's life quite a bit by being a loud drunk. So she was playing makeup ball, and I was her favorite grandkid. So she would just give me a bunch of gifts and stuff for nothing. And then I started going to California where I had to earn those gifts.
That's why you started drinking, because that's when it started to seem like a job. And you came home all tired from work, and everyone was bugging you down at the office, and you just had to throw one back and calm down.
Exactly. People think that being molested and being groomed are the same thing, and it's like no. I mean, people who get molested are like the whores. Like, come on, man. I'm a classy
put
broad.
in the time.
I was a classy broad. I got groomed. I got it was a paper play or whatever. I didn't realize it, but the more weird, awkward that happened, the better the gifts got. So, I got flown in, and I got money and sweatsuits. So I wasn't just getting groped by a teacher at school. I was like a escort,
High class.
Yeah, you were like a blue chip recruit, like you were All-American in high school, and then you got to fly to Duke to play in the All-Star games, and you're fucking flying in
and then ended up getting popped on a couple of drug tests. Ended up playing at a glorified community college.
You got to go down and play a year in a JUCO.
Getting one more chance, another negative test, and selling loose cigarettes on the street.
Yeah, he could have been a first rounder, that one. But he threw it all away.
Yeah, it's that new movie that's out with that coach. He's gonna
Ben Affleck.
Selling loosies on the street just to prove a point. Boy, Grandma's pretty rough though if you think about it. Night Train.
Yeah,
that's high alcohol already. So you're taking a fortified wine and you're mixing in cough syrup. And let's face it, you probably weren't looking for the pills back then. There's probably some of that going on too.
I got into the pills. That's how I got through my sophomore through senior year of high school with, grandma's pills. And no, if she mixed them like she did her cough syrup, I'm not sure what I was strung out on, but it was, I think,
good shit.
Yeah, I had less pep than most. So I think grandma was kind of a downer girl.
Oh yeah, probably opioid.
Sometime. Yeah, she had a rough go of it. And
could have been Valium back then.
Yeah. So I would take those, and then I would take them in the morning at school before school. I didn't even really have any real guidance. I guess I was a natural or something. I knew how to go into the self-destruct mode, and then here's the first time
you were numbing your pain.
The first time I ever got really past blackout drunk with peers. I have to say that because I got a little blackout drunk down there in Menlo Park, a little wobbly or whatever. And but I came home and the first time was my sophomore year that I really got drunk with people my own age, and I ended up putting a dog that people were real like stay away, the dog's kind of mean or whatever, and I put a football jersey on that dog at some point, and I was naked. And I sat with Steve Hall's parents watching TV till late in the.
You were naked?
Yeah, everybody else, the other kids had all passed out or whatever, and
the dog was wearing his clothes.
Yeah, the parents came
the
home.
Dog had his shirt off.
The dog had my football.
That's how I pictured it.
No, it was wearing my football jersey. The dog was wearing my football jersey, number 84. He didn't catch any passes neither.
The cat runs by with Andy's pants on.
Can we go back to the part that Andy tried to skip over, that he was naked watching TV with somebody's parents?
Yeah, well, this is all. I mean, maybe people lie or whatever, but they had no reason to. And I woke when I woke up, and that was but here's what they said. The dog, didn't seem, I didn't have any dog bites. They came in and they saw the dog in the thing, and I was naked and talking to him. And then I sat in the chair with the parents. So I guess at that point, I felt more comfortable being naked, drunk around adults. And I sat and watched TV with them. And then I felt horrible when I heard all that. And they said that I was funny. Oh, funny? How do you mean funny? How do you mean funny?
You no longer
funny,
need to come to these meetings. We've solved it. The whole thing solved.
Yeah.
We got to the core issue. That's the night it happened. That's when it happened. This is why.
What made him funny?
And I also that was also the first night I smoked weed.
No kidding.
Yeah, smoked it.
Yeah,
Had a big,
the dog told you that he was cold and wanted to wear your shirt.
Well,
because you're smoking weed.
I like the optimism of it. Like you woke up naked with your friend's parents, and you're like, "Well, the dog didn't bite me. It wasn't at all bad."
Well, I think it was kind of, I mean, I think they had to talk about it because otherwise it would have been like, we sat up with a teenage preteen boy and naked, and I have to say I was at my prime, at that point in my life, I was 155 pounds with wash tub abs and beautiful long hair. The teeth could have used some pushing together, sure. But beggars can't be choosers.
He had that Southwest Oregon kind of beauty,
Yeah.
So you were just fishing.
Well, yeah, I was a show off. My mom would always say, "Stop showing off," but she never finished her thought. Like, stop showing off, or you might attract the wrong man, or something. Yeah, little advice from mom. She had some big teeth when she was a lady. When she was she had some comical large buck teeth. My mom, when she was like 18 and 19, somewhere in there, she still had them. And then she met my dad, and apparently she had him fixed. So my mom had, fake teeth and a wig. She liked to party too, but she thought partying involved Tupperware and conversations about Tupperware.
Might not be all bad.
No, it's safe. It's safe to keep your food locked up, germ free. You can't grow coronavirus on these hot dog buns now, can you?
On these tomatoes I got at the garden.
How did we not have a pandemic that just wiped people out in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s?
Yeah. Why?
This is kind of a bummer. We thought we was over this shit.
I don't think so. I think it's right on time.
Yeah.
I'm still skeptic about mass death, but mass inconvenience, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is an inconvenience because I was going to be filling out my brackets tomorrow. Yeah. I know a lot of college athletes' dreams got crushed, but I had high hopes of the perfect bracket this year. God damn it,
Yeah, I know how it feels. Whenever I found out there's no more isopropyl alcohol, Andy, I was like, it affects me too.
Yeah, so I guess I'll just smoke. I gotta go to the top deck and yell out, I guess I'll just smoke from my dirty pipe, you greedy motherfuckers.
Yeah.
I can't stand it anymore.
And then in 2 weeks, I'll drop a bed sheet that says need rubbing alcohol. Desperate.
So
We'll trade methamphetamine for some rubbing alcohol.
I don't ask for anything.
Yeah. Dirty pipes. I think that's what we'll tell our great grandkids about. That 3-week period where we had dirty pipes and then a lot of people died around us.
Yeah.
Somebody told me that you can use vodka and salt, and I did that earlier, and it didn't really work, but it worked all right.
Salt?
I guess we're just
As
going
the
to
abrasive, you put it in like a Ziploc bag and shake it with alcohol.
But when you do, I don't know how you guys do this because whenever I see pot smokers, they're messy and dirty. I can't imagine you guys clean anything because all I do is clean up.
Grandpa.
All I do is clean up with your little toothpicks and your little nerdies and stuff. But with the
we're not all Kenny and Derek.
Well, that's my exposure.
Yeah. That's what's called anecdotal evidence, Shaylee. That's not
that's my experience.
Yeah.
The first time I got arrested in Boise, Idaho, I learned my lesson. It's like, okay, you can't carry pipes with resin. The gray area is you can carry
it's
pipes.
illegal out here. There's no recreational.
I got arrested in Boise, Idaho years ago.
Yeah.
And then it's like it was because of resin. There wasn't any weed in the pipe, and then they found a pipe in my jacket that I had to anyway, and they go, and I go, oh, keep it, I says.
And the tip for your service. Thank you.
Yeah,
for your service.
yeah, I mean, I'd scrape it and burn a little, I mean, just don't chuck it away. There's still some, you can still turn it upside down and take a hit with a big, flame on it. You'll still get a good buzz or whatever. But and then I got arrested, and they two old men escorted me into the back and asked me to undress again.
Are you sure you just weren't going into 5th period at school?
I explained it. Well, no, and they asked me to. I mean, they were searching me for weed, and I explained to them. I was like, I had that pipe, and then I said that was my ski jacket, as a, like a, common sense defense, like, I'm not trying to smuggle drugs. I was, skiing.
I only smoke when I ski.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not very good at it, and it hurts or whatever, pain relief, But this was a few years ago. I'd worked at that Funny Bone, and then I got arrested, and it was like a fucking day where there shouldn't even been a flight because there was like ice storms and shit. And I went to the airport all hung over and I put the jacket down. They found the pipe. I got arrested. They stripped me down. I was down, and I like, dude, I'm not trying to smuggle weed to Oregon. And like I was in my underwear, and two old men just like kind of go, yeah. I mean, I don't think any of us wanted it to go any further, but I think they thought they were doing their job. And then when I said that, it kind of broke the ice, and they decided they weren't going to look at my dick and balls and then jam a finger up my ass looking for some weed or whatever they were looking for. So I got to fly to Oregon into a fucking airport that was surrounded by ice and no way to get out of.
Cut to Andy pulling an eighth of weed out of his asshole when he gets to fucking Eugene.
No, believe me, that fucking gram I had taped to my testicles. I was definitely protecting, because I still had to drive once I got to Oregon. The point is I keep a clean pipe on myself when I travel these days.
They're so cheap. You can just get a new one before you travel. You don't even have to worry about cleaning it good. Just get a new pipe before you travel.
I always hate the question, have you been arrested for felonies? Because like, I'm not. Yeah, I think so. It's like there's, sometimes you're unsure and you go to court and you're like, did that one stick? I don't know, maybe 3.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just saying no. If you even pause when they ask you that question, you've answered the question.
Right. Yeah. Or if you say, boss. I always like to do that when a cop pulls me over. It's like, take it easy, boss.
Yeah. They love that.
Yeah, they know you're fucking legit.
I like this guy. He's got moxie. Yeah, he stood up to me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna cut him some slack on this one.
We can cut the fucking civilian shit. We've both been in the system. Yeah.
Oh, God damn it.
Yeah, that's the same reason I keep my military ID on top of my driver's license, so when I get pulled over, I can slide out the military. No, not that one. No, it's this one over here.
Yeah.
I'm one of.
Can you see it?
You. It's okay. I'm a good guy.
Yeah. How about the line, cop says, "Hey, where are you heading in such a hurry?" To a hero's business. To a hero. Yeah, I know. I'm trying to decide if I might need their help next week.
I can see why you always get arrested, Andy. You can't even deliver the line.
Well, I don't like it. I get nervous around authority.
Even implied authority.
Yeah. That's why Mary gives me the shivers. She's just another garden renter, but she speaks for. She's got a big mouth. Mary. If I'm sampling flowers and Mary wants to put me on a fucking blast, I'm cut off. No more bachelor buttons for me.
Oh, shit. All right. Well, I guess at some point we have to get back to our quarantine.
Yeah.
Well, it's good to check in with you guys and know that you're all well.
Is this Wednesdays?
So far.
Is this Wednesdays, or are we doing a bonus here?
This bonus? I think this is a bonus.
Are we putting some in the can? Are we putting some in the can for when one of us is dead? Like
As long as it's not you, we can keep going.
We got to start Anthony Bourdain in this backlog on shit. Yeah, no,
we
it's
got a lot of countries to visit.
Yeah, the easiest part to replace is the followed by issues with. It could be issues with anybody.
I already paid for that graphic. I can't get another one.
Yeah, man.
Well, there'll be collector's T-shirts before you know it.
What we'd have to do is your replacement would have to be called Andy. So we just have to do auditions for a new Andy.
Yeah,
we're not changing the name.
Yeah.
Well, aren't we all Andy? We're all Andys.
The real lesson.
With the real Slim Andy. When the real Slim Andy, please stand up.
That was better. All right, gentlemen. Be safe and be well. See you.
Right. Later.
It's funny now. It's ironic later.